So can we begin now? Chaliye, so now we will discuss the next point given in syllabus, the fifth. Now fifth talks about parliament and state legislature. Now we should understand that which form of government do we follow? Parliamentary form of government or a presidential form of government? We have a parliamentary form of government, right? So under this parliamentary form of government, what we need to understand: parliament and state legislature, its structure, its functioning, conduct of business, powers and privileges, and issue arising out of this. Now when we need to understand the parliament and state legislature, so as we know that we have a parliamentary form of government, yes or no? Parliamentary form of government, right? Now one of the feature of the parliamentary form of government is having a bicameral. Now what is bicameral means? Yes, it means two houses, right? And parliamentary form of government we have at the both the level, at the union and at the state. So we do not follow different types of government, but at the both the level, at the union and at the state, we have a parliamentary form of government. And one of the feature of this, in this respect of the topic, that is a parliament and state legislature, we need to discuss the bicameral legislature of that feature, right? So when we talk about a bicameral, that is a two houses features, it means the parliament having a two houses. One is Lok Sabha and one is Rajya Sabha. Upper house or lower house, council of states or house of peoples, right? Now here also we need to study the differences or a comparative form of studies with the lower house of the UK and lower house of the India. Here the Rajya Sabha is a council of state. Council of state means Rajya Sabha is a representative of states in the Rajya Sabha. Similarly to that of an Senate of an USA. Senate also having a two houses, right? Upper house known as a Senate. Senate is a representative of states, representative of states in the parliament. But there is a difference between the Indian upper house and USA's upper house. That we will see in the when we will discuss in detail. But at the state level, as we said, at the state level, there is no uniformity in the bicameralism. Some of the state or many of the states having a unicameral legislature. Orissa having how many houses? Only one, that is uni-legislature or unicameral. Whereas 6 of the states having a bicameral feature. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, then Maharashtra. So these are the states where having a bicameral legislature having a two houses. So at the state level, there is an amalgamations or a combinations, mixture of unicameral, that is having only assembly, or certain states having a bicameral, that is having assembly plus council. So this respective features we will study when we will study the state legislature. Here what we need to study, here we need to study the composition of this. Now when we talk about a composition, what does it mean? How they are been formed. So Lok Sabha, which is a directly elected assembly, a directly elected. Rajya Sabha is an indirectly elected. Yes or no? Do you understand the meaning of direct elections and indirect elections? So in a democracy, now what is a democracy means to you? Democracy means what? Yes, of the people, for the people, by the people. This is statement given to related to democracy. But the term democracy means what? So democracy is a term, is a combination of two terms. Demo and cracy. Demo means people. Cracy means government or rule. So democracy means a people's rule or rule by the people. Now the people have two options to rule. One is a direct democracy, and one is indirect democracy. Now when we talk about a direct democracy, it means where peoples are involved directly, right? In democracy, people's involved in what? When we talk about that India is a democracy, what does it mean? People are involved, not directly but involved. Involved in what? Involvement of people in what? Voting. Voting is a process through which they involved. Participations is a process. Involvement of what? Democracy means what? People's rule. What does it mean? People's rules mean what? One request, don't answer in chorus, answer individually. Yes sir. When we say democracy means people's rule, okay, what do you understand by this? People's rules means what? It means two things. Two things. First, people's participations in formation of government. The decision of a people's that which government they want to form. It means a people's rule. People's rules means they are being ruled by themselves or through representatives. Yes or no? It means what type of government they want, it is been decided by the people, by themselves. It means they are been involved or their participations in the formation of government, plus their participation is formation of law. Which type of law they want for themselves is also been decided by the people. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So when we talk about a democracy, it means two things. First, the people's or people rules means the people's participations in formations of government and people's participations in formations of rules and regulations. Is it clear? Now when we talk about the formations of government by the people, this can be done through the representative of people. You vote. You choose your representative from your constituencies, and the majority of the party get seats in the assembly. They get form a government. Yes or no? And at the legislature, state legislature or a parliament, each of the constituencies has their own representative. The representative representing the needs, opinion and aspirations of the people. The person has been chosen by them. Am I clear? Is it clear? So this representative will do what? This representative will let the government know about the aspirations, about the difficulties, about the problems of their constituencies. And on the basis of that feedback, the government will form law. And through this process, peoples were also involved in the formation of law. Am I clear? Yes or no? So this is democracy. Now this can be exercised by two ways, either direct or either through indirect. Now when we talk about a direct democracy means peoples were directly involved in the formations of law or in the formations of government. But in a modern state, it is not feasible due to the geographical extent and due to the populations that an exercise of direct democracy has been practiced. So in modern democracy, there are no state. A few who practice it in a few or lesser manner as a direct democracy, right? So there are tools of direct democracy through which people can practice. One is referendum. One is plebiscite. One is initiative. And one is right to recall. So these are the four tools through which a direct democracy has been practiced. Now what is referendum means? आपने एक टर्म सुना है? Brexit? नहीं सुने? क्या है ये टर्म? अभी से पहले exactly. So Brexit is a process when the Britain has decided to exit from the European Union. European Union is a union of formation of 28 states in the Europe. They all come together and they form a common market, common place. That is European Union. So Britain has decided to exit from that union, right? So that is an executive decisions that has to be finalized by the people of the Britain. So by using a referendum, the Britain has decided that we should follow the Brexit. The referendum means that the law which is to be decided by the executive is to be chosen by the peoples by themselves. So Britain has come up with the policy of Brexit, and they have asked the people of Britain to vote in favor or against the Brexit. So referendum where peoples were directly involved in choosing what law they want or what law they do not want by voting in the favor or voting against that law or decision. So this is referendum. Am I clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Next is plebiscite. So what is plebiscite? Plebiscite is also been chosen by the people that which type of state they want. Whether they want to continue with a union or they want to form their own state. So nature of state has been decided by plebiscite. Right? Now what is initiative? As the term suggests, initiative, to initiate. Initiate what? Initiate any kind of law. So what type of law the people want is to be initiated by themselves, and after initiative that is will be sent to the parliament. Now you discuss and vote on that. So law proposed by the people, that is initiative. In referendum, law is proposed by the executive and voted by the people. In initiative, law proposed by the people and voted by the legislature. Yes or no? Is it clear? And the last is right to recall. Now right to recall is an power given to the people to call back the executive, whether a politician, a representative or a public servant. Representative or public servant. If any of the individual or either of them is not performing their duty, or they're lacking, or they're doing any biased things, or they have been indulged into any type of corruptions, so people through passing a memorandum, they can call back, means they can ask them to leave their office. So power given to the people. So these are the tools through which a direct democracy has been exercised. Am I clear? Memorandum is kind of any like they can pass a resolutions that we do not, this public servant which is indulged into any corruptions. So majority of the population have of this area has signed that resolutions. Yes? Yes or no? So this is direct democracy. Now when we come to the indirect democracy, so this is been also known as a representative democracy. So it is an opposite to the direct democracy. In direct democracy, people are been involved in directly in the formations, directly in the choosing a law. But in indirect democracy, what they do, they choose their representative, the representative which represent their views at the government level, represent their views at the parliament or state legislature. Yes or no? So this is an indirect democracy, and India follows a indirect democracy. That is a representative democracy. Clear? Now the role of this representative is in the parliament, in the state legislature, to let the government know about the problems, about the difficulties that each of their parliamentary or state democracy has been, constituency has been followed, what law they want. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Is it clear? So this in form of democracy, it is equally advisable that parliament and state legislature, where they represent the views of their constituencies. Okay. Now what are the functions? So structure, as we have seen, a bicameral, parliament having a bicameral, how they are been formed. So Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha compositions, how they come. So directly elected, indirectly elected, nominated by the president. Yes or no? Then their functioning and structure. So if you see their functioning and structure, if you talk about the functions, so what are the functions of parliament? Now let's discuss the functions of parliament. What functions the parliament perform? Lawmaking. Okay, it means it has a legislative functions. Yes. Any other functions? Let's start asking questions. Other than the legislative functions. What functions do parliament perform other than the legislative functions? Okay, amending power. Okay. पार्लियामेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर फॉलो करती है. पार्लियामेंट इज एन एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर. आप लोग तो लिखने में बिजी हैं, आंसर कीजिए, लिख लीजिएगा. लेजिस्लेटिव. न्यू स्टेट मेकिंग. Legislative, Article 3. Okay. Do the Parliament has a judiciary function? Do the Parliament has a judicial function? चलिए मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ. Let's answer this. Yes or no? Do the Parliament has a judicial function? No. No. It does not have a judicial functions. Yes, it has, and that is known as a quasi-judicial functions. कैसे मैं बताता हूँ आपको. What is quasi means? Half, not fully. Partial judicial functions. Now, what is the functions of judiciary? Other than interpretations. जुडिशरी क्या काम करती है? कोर्ट क्या करती है? सजा देती है. द मेन फंक्शंस ऑफ जुडिशरी इज टू पनिश, pronounce judgment. Yes or no? Do the Parliament has a power to punish? No. Yes, impeachment of president is a kind of punishment. Removal of vice president is a kind of punishment. Removal of Supreme Court judges, High Court judges is a kind of punishment. Removal भी तो punishment ही है. Yes or no? Impeachment में भी तो punishment ही है. आप किसी को अगर निकालते हो तो it means you have a power to punish. Yes or no? Removal of presiding officer, speaker, deputy speaker, deputy chairman has a power. They have also power to disqualify its member. Disqualifications 10th schedule के basis पर. Anti-defection law. Yes or no? So it has a judicial functions. Yes. Next, do Parliament have a electing functions? Election functions? Yes. Yes, it has an. So it perform an election. How? Electing president, electing vice president, electing speaker, electing deputy speaker, electing deputy chairman. So Parliament do these functions. Yes or no? Next, holding responsible, executive responsible. Do the Parliament has a power to hold executive responsible? Do Parliament held or make executive to answerable? Yes. How? Sorry.
Let's say finance minister has to answerable to the finance related post. And president is addressing annual.
That is responsibility addressing of president. How the Parliament held responsible to executive? By like sir said, like making them answerable in the house. But there are many tools. Question are no confidence motions, right? Cut motions. So these are the ways how they are been making responsible. And in that punishment, they can remove the government also by passing no confidence motions. Again comes a judicial power. Am I clear? Next, they have a financial power. They have a financial power. How?
जब इलेक्शन का ईयर होता है.
बोलिए
जब इलेक्शन का ईयर होता है.
ये क्या?
ईयर.
अच्छा, ईयर, फाइनेंस, इलेक्शन ईयर. ओके ओके.
जब इलेक्शन ईयर होता है तभी मतलब between the lapse of government and the formation of new government, during that period of time, so वो एक पार्लियामेंट ही कुछ अलग
और anything else? The contingency fund is an president, consolidated fund. So whenever a government needs a money, से देखिए government requires money to functions. हर किसी को पैसे चाहिए. Yes or no? Yes. Why you are preparing for the पैसा? Yes. आपको भी पैसे चाहिए, then you are preparing for the IS officer. So everyone needs पैसा, पावर तो आ जाएगा. So the money, so government requires money, and the money is whom? Whose money is it? Public, right? And government is executive. Government is not legislative. Government is an executive. So executives cannot withdraw money without the permission of parliament. So the consolidated fund of India, consolidated fund of, there are three types of fund India having. Consolidated fund 266, public account fund 266, contingency fund 267. So out of these three, one fund, that is consolidated fund of India, has been under the disposal of parliament. It means to withdraw money from the consolidated fund of India without the authorization of parliament, the government cannot withdraw money from them. Am I clear? It means the budget. अभी आप में से किसी ने बजट का नाम लिया था. Yes, the budget. When the budget comes, it is parliament through passing an appropriation bill allows the government to withdraw money, or by passing a cut motion denies the budget or denies the withdrawal of money. So financial control is also been done by the parliament. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right? Then it has also some miscellaneous power or miscellaneous functions, like approving of emergencies. National emergency has to be approved by the parliament. State emergency has also to be approved by the parliament. Financial emergency has also to be approved by the parliament. So we can say kind of approving power. Any international treaty whichever be concluded by the executive in the name of president can only be implemented if it has been approved by the parliament. So whatever the treaty is done in the name of president with the other nations in a bilateral treaty or in a grouping like ASEAN, SAARC, Quad. India is a member of this grouping, yes or no? Yes. WTO, UN, BIMSTEC, right? So whatever, or individual or bilateral like India US trade, India France trade, Qatar, recently they have been concluded. So whatever the treaty, whatever the international law is to be implemented in India, that has to be approved by the parliament first, then only it can be implemented. So it's a control of approving the action of executive. Am I clear? Now moving to your one of your answer, ordinance. That ordinance has also to be approved by the parliament. Then only it can and can be continued. So these are the functions of the parliament in its respective is to be done, and we need to study. And these are the similar functions which is also applicable to state legislature. So if once we have studied the functions of parliament, now we are in a position to also understand the functions of state legislature. Because at the both level we have a parliamentary form of government, and there is no required to study separately the state legislature. The functions of the parliament and state legislature is similar. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? Another is that providing cabinet. Do the parliament provide cabinet? Do the parliament provide a cabinet? What is cabinet? अच्छा, काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर कर देता हूं. चलिए, अब तो कुछ इजी होगा. काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर नहीं. डू पार्लियामेंट प्रोवाइड अ काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर? हाउ? Chorus. I don't like chorus. You like, but I don't like. Okay. So member of parliament means what? We have a bicameral. Parliament means both. So now be specific. You are right, but be specific. Okay, what is Council of Minister?
The member of the parliament will themselves become the constituent. Now they will chosen by.
अच्छा, how a person can become a prime minister or chief minister?
It is the part.
ऑप्शन देता हूं मैं जी. How a person can become prime minister or chief minister? Election, nomination, selection, and is appointment.
Selection.
अब आप आंसर दीजिए, मैं मार्क करता हूं. So you are saying, someone saying election, someone saying selection. Election. So prime minister or chief minister become through election. So do you all vote? How many of you have voter ID card? All. Very good. And how? नहीं, हाथ ऊपर ही रखिए. Those who have vote, अभी तो ज़्यादा थे, अभी कम हो गए. Those who have voter ID card, please raise your hand and keep still. How many of you have voted? Those who have not voted, please put down your hand. In elections, either maybe in state elections or maybe in Lok Sabha. So you all have voted. So you vote, give your vote to whom? ठीक है. Now this is my questions to whom? Those who have voted. So in which elections do you have, you all voted? State elections or Lok Sabha?
वो हमारा मतलब दोनों एक ही टाइम पे होता है.
वोट होता है एक ही टाइम पे, एक ही वोट नहीं होता है ना.
सेम वे में हम लोगों को मतलब लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली के लिए चुनना पड़ता है और लोकसभा के लिए.
तो अलग अलग वोटिंग होती है ना. वोटिंग अलग अलग होती है. यस, इतना मुझे पता है. सो चलिए बात करते हैं स्टेट के लिए. So when you have all voted to the state assembly, to whom you voted? I'm not asking the party. I'm not asking the party name. I'm not asking the candidate name. I'm asking to whom you are voting. You are voting for your individual constituencies, or you are voting for the chief minister? Constituency. It means the chief minister or prime minister is not elected. क्यों, कैसे, मैं बताता हूं. इलेक्शंस का मतलब क्या है? कंफ्यूजन है, मैं दूर कर देता हूं. अगर प्राइम मिनिस्टर या चीफ मिनिस्टर के लिए वोटिंग होती तो एवरी इंडिविजुअल हु इज इन वोटिंग इन द elections, they all have voted for one candidate, chief minister candidate. So we do not have a chief minister candidate. What we are voting for? We are voting our own representative who is going to represent our constituencies. Yes or no? आप वोट ऐसे ही करते होगे ना. You vote in your, go in your constituencies. मुझे, he is a good, he will represent my constituency, vote on it. Yes or no? Right. So you are not voting for a chief minister or a prime minister. You are voting for your constituency. Coming to your point. Yes or no? Now tell me the total number of seats in Orissa legislative. 1. Now to form a government it requires an absolute majority. Absolute majority means 50% plus 1 of the total strength of the house. So what will be the absolute majority? 147, 120. 74. Is it clear? Now I'm let you understand how a chief minister or prime minister can be dead. So we have a parliamentary form of government. One of the parliamentary form of government is a majority party rule. This is one of the feature of parliamentary form of government. Majority party rule. Now what does it mean? It means the party which has a majority number of seats. Majority means absolute majority number of seats in the assembly will form a government. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So suppose a party which is a name of A has a 74 number of seats in an assembly out of 147. So it has an absolute majority. So he will form a government. Yes? Till here it is clear? But still we have not come up to the point of chief minister. So how the chief minister will come? So next feature of parliamentary form of government is leadership of chief minister. What does it mean? That this majority party who has a majority number of seats in the assembly will decide one leader, that this is a leader of this majority party. Yes or no? Right? And that leader of that majority party will be appointed as a chief minister by governor, or that leader of the majority party will be appointed as a prime minister of a country by the president. So prime minister or chief minister is an appointed, not elected, not selected, not nominated. So they I know you maybe have many confusions. Are you getting my point? And this has been said by the Constitution, Article 75 of the Constitutions. Is it clear? Ji.
Five members are willing to become the chief minister of the
5 members.
Yes, from the majority.
तो मेजोरिटी पार्टी जिसे भी चूज करेगी लीडर कि ही इज आवर लीडर, अब वो 5 को तो चूज कर नहीं सकती है, किसी एक को लीडर चूज करना होगा. इन द केस सी there are two situations which can be arrived, right? One situation when a party having a majority number of seats, that is an absolute majority is known. Second situation is known as an hung assembly. Assembly मैं इसलिए ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि I am letting you to understand at the Odisha level. This assembly will be replaced by the parliament also, which is known as a hung parliament. Now what is hung assembly? Yes, hung assembly means neither of the party has arrived at the threshold limit of 74. जितने भी political पार्टियां हैं, they have all have a number of seats, but that is less than 74. To form a government, it is required that the party should at least cross this threshold limit, and as an absolute majority, that is a mark of 74. Then only the party is in a position to form a government, and the leader of that party will be appointed as a chief minister or prime minister. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? Now suppose that neither of the party, whether 2, 3 or 4, any number of party, all that party, they have been contesting elections, they have neither has reached to the threshold limit of 74. Each of that party has been below the number of 74, which is a required number to form a government. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right? So in this case, hung parliament, what will happen? Certain have one party has 70, one party has 60, and so on. So neither has crossed this threshold limit. So now in this case, it is up to the president or governor to exercise its discretionary power. Discretionary power means acting on his own without acting on anyone's advice. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? Whatever the case may be, suppose in this case, this A and this B So he can call anyone to form a government. He will ask A, acha theek hai, you have a 70 seats, you are lacking in the majority, still I give you a chance to prove your majority in the house. That is known as a post poll alliance. There are two types of alliance, post poll alliance and pre poll alliance. Alliance, do you understand alliance? What is alliance? गठबंधन means gather some number, बात कीजिए, जाकर नंबर लेकर आए 74, which is required to form a government. So that will be, there will be given chance. In either of the case, the leader of that party will be appointed as a chief minister or prime minister, and leader will always be one. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Right? So this is how prime minister or chief minister is appointed. Now if suppose that party has an absolute majority, that is of 74 plus, required 74 but they have an 80, it means they have an absolute majority to form a government. So the leader will be appointed as a chief minister, and on the advice of leader, that is a chief minister, a body of ministers will be appointed, that is known as a council of ministers. Am I clear? A body of ministers will be appointed again by the governor as a ministers, right? And it is not necessary if an legislature having a bicameral that it can only from the lower house. Minister can be from the lower house also, it can be from the upper house also. For example, our former late Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, he was from the Rajya Sabha. He was a prime minister. In the current ministry, Dr. S. Jaishankar, he is also from the Rajya Sabha. Somewhere from the Lok Sabha, somewhere from the Rajya Sabha. So both the houses are in a equal positions to providing the cabinet. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Is it clear? So we can say that through this they are providing a cabinet or council of ministers. The classifications we will see when we will see the council of ministers. But here we need to understand that how they are providing, they are helping. If it is an unicameral, then the minister will be from the one house. If it is having in a state, it is having a bicameral, though we know that at the union level we have a bicameral, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So even the prime minister can also be from the either of the house. It is not compulsory or it is not mandatory that the prime minister should be from the lower house. Yes or no? Any doubt? So these are the functions, or we can say that they perform this kind of functions. Now each of the functions will be elaborately in a different way. Like when we talk about the legislative functions of the parliament, it means we're talking about how the laws are made. So we'll talk about the bills, the types of bills, classifications of bills. So how many types of bills are there? There are two types, government member bill and private member bill. Then there is a classification of bill. So there are four types, ordinary bill, money bill, finance bill and constitutional amendment bills. So what are the process through what they can cross through while forming a law? Like you might have heard about the term joint sitting. सुना आपने? What is joint sitting? Joint sitting कब होती है? वो तो मुझे joint sitting मतलब मिलकर करना. So joint sitting is a mechanism to resolve the disputes between the two houses. तो ज्वाइंट सिटिंग हमेशा होती है डिस्प्यूट के केस में, जब भी डिस्प्यूट्स हो दोनों हाउस, बाई कैमरल है तो दोनों हाउस में डिस्प्यूट्स अगर हो गई तो हाउ टू रिजॉल्व द डिस्प्यूट्स, इट इज ज्वाइंट सिटिंग. In which case it will be applicable, in which case it is not applicable, that all we will see. So in the legislative process we are going to discuss this, the types of bill, what is government member bill, what is private member bill. To understand what is, do you have you ever heard about the government member bill and private member bill? What is government member bill? Yes, the bill which has been, or any bill is basically a proposal of a law. ठीक है. So when any proposal of a law has been introduced by the Council of Ministers known as a government member bill. Why? Because Council of Ministers is a government. Yes. Private member bill, any member other than the Council of Ministers. So all the member of a legislature is empowered to make any law. They can introduce in the house. Now it's up to the house that it can be passed or it can be failed. Right, but all the members of the parliament has been authorized to make laws or to introduce a proposal in the house. So the persons, the members who are introducing the law in the house are not a part of Council of Ministers. So that bill or proposal is known as a private member bill. Sorry.
कोई भी मतलब इनवाइट लेके पार्लियामेंट में स्पीच दे सकता है,
कोई भी,
जैसे अभी सुधा मूर्ति गई थी.
That is invited by the parliament and she is a representative of Rajya Sabha, nominated. कोई भी आप और मैं भाषण नहीं दे सकते until and unless we have been authorized. Like Attorney General have a right to speak in the parliament, but they do not have a right to vote in the house. That we will see. Okay? This is one of the functions of parliament, that is legislative functions. Now if you see the next one, in response of amending power, using Article 368, the parliament can amend the constitutions. We will see the different types of amending power of the parliament. On this, amending power can also be seen under the same heading, constitutional amendment bill, how it can be introduced, what are the process of amending the constitution or not. Clear? Next, quasi-judicial functions. As I said, parliament has also power to remove, impeachment of president, removal of vice president, passing a no confidence motion against the government, then removal of speaker, deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha, deputy chairman of the Rajya Sabha, right? Removal of judges of Supreme Court or High Court, removal of Chief Election Commissioner, CAG, State Election Commissioner. So they all are been removed by the through the process motion of removal motions process by the parliament. So this comes under the quasi judicial functions of parliament. Now you need to understand one thing. This is how, why my aim is to understand you the syllabus. Now when we will study, we will not going to study in the same manner. We'll study how the judges of Supreme Courts are removed. We'll study how the speaker is removed. But when the question asks that is the parliament functioning any quasi-judicial functions? So yes, and you need to pick all those removal functions power with dignitaries has been removed by the parliament and need to write at one place. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So what I am going to do is to introduce the functions which we have done. Now how they are been functioning, you just need to pick from places and you need to just collaborate at one place and you need to write the answer. Am I clear? Yes or no? Clear? Next, if we see election process. So if you see the election process, so under election process, do the parliament has an election process? Yes. It elect president, it elect vice president, it elects speaker, it elect deputy speaker, it elect deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha, elects speaker, deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha. They have an election process, they elect these dignitaries, so they are also performing election process. Am I clear? Now if you move to the next, how the executives are holding responsibles. So holding responsibilities, this question has been asked in mains. So how executives are held responsible by the legislature? Through question hours, where parliament asks questions from the executive. This we will discuss. Then through cut motion, right? Through no confidence motion. Yes or no? Through adjournment motions, through censor motions. So these are the ways through which the responsibilities of executive are been held by the legislature. Collective responsibility. You might have heard about the term collective responsibilities. So there are two types of responsibilities: collective responsibility and individual responsibilities. Right? Let's see those responsibility. So if we talk about the now what do you mean by the term responsibility? Responsibility means what? They are responsible. What does that means? Okay. So responsibility means answerable. Kind of. Which kind?
रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का एक पार्ट हो सकता है।
तो और भी पार्ट हो सकते हैं रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के। Accountability is an answerable. Yes, it has two parts. Now, if suppose it's understand through one example. Responsibility, if you have been responsible for your job, it means first you are will answerable related to your job, and also you will liable for punishment if you failed in your job. Are you getting my point? So responsibility means two things. First, you are answerable. So ministers are answerable to the legislature with respective to their job, and if they are failed, so they are also liable for the punishment. Punishment in kind of saja nahi, removal. Punishment in kind of removal, that they can be removed from the offices. This is responsibility means, right? So there are two types of responsibility if it talks about in terms of Indian constitutions. The first is collective responsibility. And the second is individual responsibility. These are the basics of constitutions what we are discussing along with the syllabus. So many of the concept we have just discussed along with the concept. So when we just required at that point, I will just mention about this. You should in a position to recollect all this. Right? Now collective responsibility means what? आप तो ओके मुझे लगा गाइड खोल के बैठे हैं आप. व्हाट इज कलेक्टिव रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी? Collective responsibility, yes, group of people. Here we are talking about the ministers. So council of ministers are collectively responsible for the act they have done or for the act they do not done. it may be for the individual and also for the every as a whole. So collectively responsible, they are responsible to Lok Sabha. And for the punishment, the Lok Sabha may pass the no confidence motion against the Council of Ministers. And because of this collective responsibility, they came to be known as that they swim together and they sink together. Yes or no? अगर डूबेंगे तो सब साथ ही डूबेंगे और पार तो सारे पार. This is collective responsibility. Am I clear? Right? Now when we talk about an individual responsibility, so here each of the ministers is individually responsible for their act, and they will be responsible to, like collective responsibility is to the Lok Sabha. So all the act of the collective act efforts or any act they have not done in that capacity, they all are responsible to the Lok Sabha. So individually for their individual act, answerable and punishment, so they will be responsible to whom? President. That's why you might have heard the term pleasure of president. सुना है आपने? Pleasure of president. It means for individual act, they can be removed by the president at any point of time. तभी आपने बहुत बार many times you might have heard about the cabinet reshuffle होता हुआ. आपने कोई टर्म सुना हो न्यूज़पेपर में, the cabinet has been reshuffled. नहीं, ऐसा आपने कभी टर्म नहीं सुना, न्यूज़पेपर में कभी नहीं पढ़ा. न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हो आप लोग? डू यू गो थ्रू द न्यूज़पेपर? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू गो थ्रू द न्यूज़पेपर? नो वन? नो न्यूज़पेपर? डिजिटल? अरे कोई भी न्यूज़पेपर, डिजिटल या फिजिकल? डिजिटल वो दैट रील वाले न्यूज़पेपर की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं. It is important for you to have at least one newspaper daily, क्योंकि आपका वो newspaper will help you to widen your perspective, your thought process, and which is important in answer writing and which is also important for your interview process. देखिए, interview is a personality development, right? They are not going to check your knowledge. Why? Because they have already did in the mains. एग्जॉस्टिव पेपर ले लिया उन्होंने, 10 पेपर लिया ना उन्होंने. विद इन 5 days there are 9 पेपर. So exhaustive your knowledge has been already been checked. Now what they will check in interview? So interview में again they are not going to check your knowledge. You are going to check your personality. Now your personality means your broad thinking, linking the topic, how you behave, what's your ideas on anything. That is a wider perspective. Are you getting my point? So how you can develop? It is not something which is a persons can be born with. It is something which can be developed over a period of time. So how it can be developed? Through going through various views. Newspaper is one of the kind where you can improve your thought process, where you go through the various articles, editorials written by the experts, where you can have an different views on a one subject matter, and that is an important for your understanding and developing your personality. So it is important to at least go through one newspaper, whatever you may be, either Hindu or Indian Express. It's up to you. Yes or no? So it is advisable. Start reading. So these are the basic what you need. Many of students who started preparing, they started with the books. UPSC means books. No, it does not. Now it does not mean books. It means your aptitude test. There is one paper na, CSET, Civil Service Aptitude Test. Aptitude means what? Your way of thinking. your wider perspective, how widely you can give a solutions. What will be your job as an IAS officer or IPS officer? What do you think? Your job profile? What will be your job profile as an IAS officer or IPS officer or IFS officer? Whatever you want to become. What will be your job profile? अगर आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया जाए इंटरव्यू में that why you should want to become an IAS or IPS. So first of all, you should know what they are the job profile. So as an civil servant, what is expected from you? This you need to understand. देखिए इसी बेसिस पर आपको मेंस में भी आंसर लिखना है. As an civil servant, what is expected from you? So as an civil servant, it is expected that you should provide a solutions to the problem, because you will be at the link between whom? Link between people and the government. Yes or no? Government will ask you, ये implementations का क्या हुआ, क्यों नहीं implementation हो रहा? Because you are the responsible for implementations. Public will ask, government क्या कर रही है हमारे लिए? Yes or no? So you are a link, and as a link you need to provide a solutions, positive solutions. तभी क्वेश्चंस कैसे आ रहे हैं एग्जाम्स में आप देखिए. One of the example I have given you. After a 60 or 65 years of independence, the parliamentary form of government has not provided what it meant to be. Full stop. High time to change it with the republic form of government, presidential form of government. Give your view. So as a civil servant, you are not been required कि ठीक है सर ये काम नहीं कर रहा, दूसरा सिस्टम लेकर आओ. What is your job profile is to give us solutions. Though we have some problem, but we need to continue by making some efforts to making change within our systems and improving the systems which it can effectively. Yes or no? It means providing a solution. That's why whenever you write an answer, at the end of the answer, you might have heard that you need to write the conclusion, and conclusion will always be a solutions. That if you have discussed any problem in the answer, you need to provide the solutions. So as a civil servant, it is required by your side that you should be in a positions to provide solutions to the problems, not to replace the solutions or the systems. So this requires an overall view, or this will only you will be in a positions to give a solutions when you will have a 360-degree view on any topic. Yes or no? Or if you have only one side of, if you have only a view of one side, can you provide a solutions to the any problem? Unless and until knowing the each aspects of the problem, you cannot provide the solutions. Yes or no? So paper will help you in this. So it is advisable that you should be going with the paper on a daily, regular basis. There is no need. I am not in a favor, I am not in a mode, or in you can say that of the opinion that you should making note with the newspaper of current affair. There is no need to do, because in market there are many magazines are there for the current. But through that, what you need to do is to develop your thinking, thought process. That is more important. It will, if you have good, it will take time, 2, 3, 4, 6, or a year, month or a year. But at a continuous basis, you will be in a positions where you have an holistic view on every matter. Then you can understand the topic well. Then you can provide a solutions to the topic. Yes or no? So it is advisable that you should go through the paper also. Now moving back to this. As I said, that individual responsibilities of ministers, they are to the president. It means for any act of that, they can be removed by the president, and because of this, they are known as a pleasure of president. As I said, cabinet reshuffle. Sometimes it is done that one cabinet is given to one person, after a 2 year or a year, that person may be removed from the cabinet. another person may be given the in charge of that cabinet, means department, right? That it means if individual is removed from his ministry, the government will not fall, the government will continue. But removal of council of minister from the office means the government fall. Yes or no? Right? So this is how they are making responsible to the executive, holding their answerable, and through this cut motion, no confidence motion, they are punishing the executive related to their financial matters or related to their existence in the office. Am I clear? Yes or no? Okay. Next, if we see financial power, so how they have been holding a financial power. So if we see the financial power, first, having control of consolidated fund of India, authorizations, withdrawal of money from consolidated fund of India. It is required that they have, the government should have an authorization from the parliament. Any kind of expense they want to do, that will be done from the consolidated fund of India. Yes or no? There are three types of fund. If we see, if we talk about the funds, so there are three types. So Article 262 and Article 267 is Article 262 talks about two types of fund. One is consolidated fund of India and another is public account fund. Right? This consolidated fund of India is a main fund of government. All the money which credited, whether through the loan, through the taxes, indirect or direct taxes, whether through the loan or borrowing of the money, that all money comes into the consolidated fund of India. Right? So all the money credited of the government is consolidated fund of India. Now government want to expend, give someone Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, required some money. Give health insurance, required some money. Wants to give housing for all, required some money. Give toilet, required some money. Yes or no? So whatever social service, whatever they want to purchase, any technology from the USA, that's also required money. So all the expenditure will also come from the consolidated fund of India. So because of the nature, and these monies are belongs to the people, public, yes or no? So because of this nature, it is at the disposal of parliament. So for the requirement of the withdrawal of money from the consolidated fund of India, the parliament is responsible for giving permissions. Am I clear? Yes or no? Right? Next is public account fund. So this is a fund where your and mine, everyone, money has been kept in the form of saving account, in form of provident fund, right? Or fines or fees. So this is a public account money where it requires, withdrawal does not require a parliamentary approval. आप ATM से जाते हो, पैसे लेकर आ जाते हो. For that you do not require any parliamentary approval. Next is contingency fund. Contingency fund of India. It is an emergency fund of India. Emergency fund. Right? And it is at the disposal of president. So certain amount of money has been kept as an emergency. आप भी अपने पर्स में एक emergency amount रखते होगे at the time of emergency, whenever it comes. So you expend. So this is an emergency fund whenever a government requires for a unforeseen emergency, like suppose कि earthquake आए, flood आ गया, anything, any kind of, it requires money and it is not possible कि parliament को बुलाएं and permissions ली जाए to withdraw the money. So that time president gave the money to the government, and all that money which they have been expended from the contingency fund, were receipt given to the parliament. After approving, again the money will be transferred to the contingency fund. So it is an emergency kind of fund. So this has been controlled by the parliament under financial control. Yes or no? Annual financial statement, which is also known as budget. This has also been is under the control of the parliament. Yes. Then considering the report of finance commissions and CAG is also one of the functions of parliament. Yes or no? So these are the financial power which we will discuss during the budget and everything, how they have been dealing, what are the process of budget, financial bill, money bill. So these are the financial power of the parliament. Any doubt? Right? Now if you see the next, so next is providing cabinet. This we have seen how the cabinet has been provided. So these are the certain functions and provisions of the parliament, and these are similarly applicable to the state legislature also. So once we have done the parliament, there is no required to again go to the state legislature. They are always been covered in the parliament, because both at the both level we follow the parliamentary form of government. So the functions and everything is been similar to that of a parliament and legislature. Am I clear? Yes or no? Clear? So here we can see structure, functioning, conduct of business, powers and privileges. So we have seen the collective responsibilities power. So they have also the responsibilities as a collective responsibility and individual responsibilities. Issues arising of this, like power of speaker to decide the cases in the 10th schedule, anti-defection law. Right. So what are the challenges? Then here also we will understand the power of Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, whether they have an equal power with respect to both, whether they have some in certain cases when the Lok Sabha has more power, what are the circumstances when the Raj Sabha has more power than the Lok Sabha, whether it is necessary if the Raj Sabha has no power with respect to the Lok Sabha in certain matter, so why it is feasible to have a second chamber. This question has also been asked. The utility of Raj Sabha is not so why it is necessary to have a second chamber? That is Council of State. So this we will discuss. Yes or no? Am I clear? Any doubt? If you see the next, structure, organization and functioning of executive and judiciary. So now we need to analyze the executive. Now as we know, we have a two-tier of government, union and state. So there will be an if we talk about the executive, so executive at the union level and executive at the state level. So at the union level, how the president of India is elected or can become, the power and functions of president. Like the president have an executive power, financial power, legislative power. Do the president has a legislative power? Do the president have a legislative power? It means, do the president make laws? No, the president do not make laws. Yes. Hey, like example. Okay, one of the assent of bill. Okay. Other than this, ordinance. Okay. Other than that, emergency is in financial power. Emergency is not legislative power. It's a different power. So yes, it has its assent veto. Then this law-making power ordinance 123, Article 123, veto power Article 111. It has a power to nominating power of an into the Rajya Sabha. 12th member can be nominated by the president, right? It has also an diplomatic power. It has an military power. It has an financial power. It has a judiciary power. Do the president have a judicial power? Like pardoning power, Article 72. Other than that, it has any other judicial power? Other than the Article 72, it has any judicial power? Yes, appointment of judges, removal of judges. So these are the judicial power, right? So this is, then next is Vice President of India. Then next, Executive Council of Ministers, including Prime Minister. Next is Attorney General for India. So these are the executive of the Union. When we move to the executive of states, Governor, then Council of Minister or including Chief Ministers. So this power of this is similar to that of the Union. What the Council of Minister is performing at the Union level, same functions and the same power is of Council of Minister at the state also. You're saying something. CAG is not an executive of this. Is it clear? Then here also one is Advocate General of State. Advocate General of State having a same power, same responsibility, same function as an Attorney General of India. It means what I'm trying to say, that if we once we cover this, complete this, this will be automatically be covered. No need to do separately of all these power because they have the similarity. So what we will do, so in the Union we will complete all this. When we will come to the state executive, we will do the governor in comparison with the President of India. So almost all the functions of the governor is similar to that of a president, excepting few that in the comparative we will come to know. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So through this, what we are going to do is we are going to save our time and also our energy by not repeatedly studying everything, but smartly doing one thing and apply to the other thing also. Yes, am I clear? Now this is an executive. Now if we come to the judiciary, judicial, so its structure like Supreme Court. Now we know that Indian judiciary, the feature of Indian judiciary is, what is a salient feature of Indian judiciary? Sorry. Salient feature of Indian judiciary. What the term salient means? Important. Okay. Salient means what? Important. No. Salient has no meaning. Hai? Introduction. Salient is an unique. Salient means unique. So salient feature means unique feature. So what is a unique feature of judiciary, Indian judicial system? So Indian judicial system is an independent and integrated judiciary. Yes, तो पहले बोलना है सर, मैंने तो बोला. क्या नहीं आता है? Lack of revision, कोई नहीं, हो जाएगा. Now what is independent judiciary? What do you understand by the independent judiciary? So this is one of the important feature of federal system. It is one of the important feature to establish a constitutional supremacy. So if the judiciary is not independent, if it is dependent on the executive of its function, so it will make a biased decision. It will make a biased judgment. It will take side, and which is not feasible for the constitution, a democracy. So when a democracy and constitution can survive, when we have an independent judiciary. Am I clear? Yes or no? So this independent part of judiciary we have taken from the USA. Now when we say that Indian judiciary is an integrated judiciary, what does it mean? Links meant what? Appellate. Okay, ठीक है और? You are on the right track.
कलीजियम का अपॉइंटमेंट होता है हाई कोर्ट में, मतलब
that is not related to integrated, that is related to independent. Integrated judiciary means unlike the separation of power, unlike the power has been separated, division of power, not separation of power, unlike the division of power, like the legislative executive has a division of power, there are different limitations. Division of power, there was a division of power, yes or no? Through the 7th schedule. A list has been divided. You can do only this, you can do only this, you can do only this. There is no such division of power in the judiciary. It means the Supreme Court, High Court and subordinate court. So we have an hierarchy of judiciary, not a division of power of judiciary. It means the Supreme Court at the same time can call unconstitutional even the union and state law. It is an integrated, means all are linked, and the High Court is controlled and supervise the subordinate court. Unlike the American. In America, the judiciary has a division of power. Federal court is not allowed to interfere in the state matter. So state have their own highest court of appeal. But in India, there is no such division of power in terms of judiciary. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? So means in this terms of judiciary, we will see how the independent nature of judiciary has been maintained by the constitutions, like their appointment, their removal, their salaries. So this is a way how a person can be independent. If their removal is not been subject to executive, so executives cannot remove them unless and until the parliament is approved. If their salaries will not be decreased during their functions, or it is not depending upon their performance. Yes or no? If their salaries is directly charged by the Consolidated Fund of India, it should not be given to the voting process. So these are the ways how the independent nature is been maintained by the constitutions. Then it's a structure, appointment process, then it's jurisdictions. What cases can it be heard, under what circumstances? Getting my point? So this all will be studied under the structure, organization, functioning of executive and judiciary. Then ministry and departments, that we will see when we will see the council of ministers and how this department and ministries are been done. Next is salient feature of Representations of People's Act 1950 and 51. This is a theoretical part. There is nothing to be understood in this. Just theoretical needs to be understood, or what the provisions, who can how the disqualifications can be done, representations and elections can be done. Next, if we see is appointment of various constitutional posts, power, functions and responsibilities of various constitutional bodies, like UPSC is a constitutional bodies, right? Now if we see, there is a difference between a bodies. If we see, the one is constitutional body and one is non-constitutional body. Do you understand the difference between the two? Constitutional bodies and non-constitutional bodies. What are the constitutional bodies? I'm not asking the examples. No need to give an example. The term constitutional body means what? Including or mentioned in the constitution. Yes. So body which are mentioned in the constitutions. A dedicated article is provided for them, right? The body which derive their power and functions from the constitutions. So now you can cite an example. UPSC, State Public Service Commissions, AGI, Attorney General of India, Advocate General of State, Finance Commissions, CAG, Election Commission of India, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Backward Classes. These are the constitutional bodies. They have a dedicated articles related to them. They have been mentioned in the constitutions. Plus they are deriving their power and functions from the constitutions, right? So these are the constitutional bodies. Now when we come to the non-constitutional bodies, so again there is a two types. One is statutory body and one is non-statutory bodies. Now statutory body means what? Established by law. So the bodies which are established by law, right? It may be a parliamentary law or it may be a state law. So the bodies like NHRC, National Human Rights Commissions, right? Like Lokayukt, Lok Adalat, Lokpal, CBI, RBI, SEBI, yes or no, Zonal Council. So these are the statutory body which they have been established through the law made by parliament or maybe made by the legislatures. Plus they are all deriving their power and functions from the law. Sorry? Appellate tribunal is a tribunal means which has been given power, like CAT. Lokpal is a tribunal where it has been some judicial functions by the body. NHRC, it's a quasi-judicial body. It's a statutory. That depending upon which type of nature they have the body. Okay? Non-statutory bodies, the body which has been established by the order of executives. One of the example is Niti Aayog. Have you heard about the term Niti Aayog? It is National Institution for Transforming India. So these are the body, right? Now again there will be a division. Judicial and quasi-judicial body. Right? So judicial having a only responsibility of performing the judiciary duties. Quasi-judicial bodies like SEBI, RBI, NHRC. They are the quasi-judicials, means other than the judiciary, they have the administrative functions also. Yes or no? Are you getting my point? So this is what we need to understand or go through the syllabus which is provided by the UPSC. So if we come to see this, right? Statutory, regulatory, and various quasi-judicial body. Regulatory, which is formed to regulate the functions of any body, like SEBI is a regulatory body. RBI is a regulatory body, yes or not? Regulating the act of a bank. SEBI is a regulating the market, stock market and all this. So they are the regulatory body. Quasi-judicial body having a functions of judiciary also. I've given you the example. Again, SEBI is a can be a quasi-judicial. It punish those who mislead the in the stock market, who produce an wrong informations. Similarly, RBI is also to given a punishment, ombudsman for that, yes or no? NHRC. So these are the bodies which has been come under this, and this is the syllabus given by the UPSC. Now if you come to the pattern of the questions, that over the years from 2013 from the syllabus till recently, if you see, sorry,
Sir, ये
कहाँ पर?
those are government policies and intervention for development in various sectors.
A governance, that is governance and social justice. All are governance. We are discussing only polity and constitutions. We are not dealing with the governance right now. हाँ बताइए बताइए. NGOs, pressure groups, SHGs, these are NGOs. Sorry, governance. Syllabus of governance. ये governance का syllabus है. E-governance, governance, electronic governance, good governance, Sevatta model, citizen charter, सब governance. NGOs is also from the governance. Pressure groups, these are governance. We are just dealing with the constitutions and polity. Is it clear? Now if you see the pattern of the questions has been asked over the period after the syllabus has been changed in 2013. So if you see, we have seen the syllabus in the 8 or 9 topics which has been this. This is the where you can see that now that syllabus has been given. Now how you need to study is depending upon the PYQ's pattern, that which of the topic has been more focused in the examinations. So if you see from this basic of constitutions, that is special features, underpinning, evolutions, that is continuously on the rise of the questions. Comparing of the constitutions with the world, this has been started from 2018. Before 2018, there was no question which was asked from the comparisons. But after 2018 or since the 2018, it is in that there is always a one questions, whether it may be a 10 marks questions or 15 marks questions will always be there in the examinations. So this will give you an idea how to prepare yourself with respect to in terms of examinations by seeing the comparison of an question been asked or the topic which has been more been focused. So if you see all over then you can see that from the legislature and executive, they always asking a many questions from the legislature and elections. RPA Act, they will be asking questions, or they will be asking a question from the parliament functions. So there will be always a questions, 1 or 2 questions from this. If you see the power separation of power, there will always be a question from this. If you see federal and local government, there will always be a question from this. Whether be 1 questions or 2 questions, it always in every year the question has been coming from that topic. If you see the bodies, so till here you can see that 19 they have been asked, or no sorry, in 2023 they have been asked the questions. So again there is a questions. So there are 4 or 5 topic out of the given all the topic, you can consider that they have been asking a questions from this. And from the basic of constitutions, the mainly questions come from the doctrine of basic structure and basic concept of the constitutions, which includes the fundamental rights, DPHP also. This is just a comparative study, you need to understand that how the subject and the topics has been targeted by the UPSC in examinations. Clear? If you see this, if I ask you the, if I give you the options of distribution of marks over the period of years, the distribution of marks means what? Distribution of marks out of 250, the weightage of polity and constitutions in paper 2. So it is almost and 50% of that. Starting with the 90 till it has been 150 or 135. That is more than the 50% of the paper 2 questions are coming from the constitutions and polity of the topic, which makes it again an important sections to score in the examinations. So this is something which you cannot leave. And the weightage of the exam, we can call this marks in the examination has been continuously on increasing every year. Okay? So out of 250, 150 will be from polity. Rest under 100, there will be three topics: IR, governance, and social justice. From IR, there will be 4 questions, almost of 50 marks. Again, there will be 50 marks left. Out of the 50, social justice may be 30, governance may be 20, governance may be 30, social justice may be 20. But this UPSC or this polity and constitution part will cover almost 150 marks of the total 250 marks of your paper. Are you getting my point? So this shows the importance of this topic in your examinations. Any doubt? Clear? Now if you see certain questions, let me see. Yes, so this is on syllabus for the prelims. As I said, there is no need to prepare a prelims separately. Once you have done with the mains preparations, the prelims will automatically be covered. If you see the syllabus: Indian polity and governance, constitutions, political structure, panchayati raj, public policies, rights issues, that already we have been covered in the mains. So no need to prepare, or there is not advisable that you should start preparing with the initial prelims first. When we will clear the prelims, we will move to the mains. No, start preparing with the mains. And if you have mastered your mains, 70 to 80% of your prelims has been done. Syllabus is similar to both. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Now if we talk about the sources, so what source we need to follow? So I am one who do not believe in much of the source. So what you need to do is NCERT from class 10 to 12. If you have sound knowledge, if maybe many of you do not have any base, so you can go with the class 8 to 12. Okay. Now you may also ask the question, sir, how many times we need to study the NCERT? So till selection. So NCERT will provide you 2 things. First, deeper knowledge related to subject, and second, how to write an answer. Approach, language hi-fi रखें या small और क्या रखें, that the language of the NCERT will be sufficient to write an answer in the mains. This is the first source. Second is syllabus. Third is PYQs for the prelims and for the mains. These are those which are essential for your preparations. So you should have an PYQs for the prelims also and for the mains also. though I am talking only about the paper 2, but these are the essentials for the every topic, every subject you are preparing. NCRT of every history, NCRT of science, NCRT of geography, polity, economy, everything. NCRT should be your main book where you should depend on, plus one source, whatever you are preferring, not different sources. If you are following any book other than NCRT, see, NCRT is the must. You cannot, there is no replacement of NCRT. Take other than NCRT, any one source, whether it's a class material, coaching material, or any book, but only one. There is no need to go for multiple number of sources. Okay? Because all the books have the same thing. Constitutions कोई हर book अलग नहीं लिख रहा है. They are not making their own constitution. There is only one constitution. So everyone is writing that source. So you can bang on only one source. Any source. I am not suggesting any book's name. That's upon you. Okay? Other than this, you need to have newspaper. Any newspaper, either Hindu or Indian Express. But one. Now why it is necessary? It is necessary to have a knowledge related to current, because the topic what you have been discussing, other than the, even history today is not an static, it also dynamic. कहीं पे कुछ खोद, कहीं कुछ मिल गया आर्कियोलॉजिकल को, तो वहां से भी क्वेश्चंस नहीं ऐसा पूछ लेते वो. किसी खोज को 50 years हो गए, उससे क्वेश्चंस. हाँ, देयर कैन बी आस्क एनी क्वेश्चंस. किसी मॉन्यूमेंट्स या टेम्पल को 1000 years हो गए, वहां से क्वेश्चंस. किसी मॉन्यूमेंट्स को यूनेस्को में सबमिट कर लिया, वहां से क्वेश्चंस. So what I'm trying to say, that this newspaper will help you to understand the nature, how they're asking, and also it will help you to develop your holistic approach, which is again a very important. Yes or no? Clear? So these are the certain resources what you can follow while you're preparing. Other than this, what you can have, one specifically related to polity is a Bare Act. PM Bakshi, there is a Bare Act of PM Bakshi, which is specifically given only to the articles and amendments of the constitutions, and this is necessary for you. Whenever you need to refer something, when I suppose that you have been encountered any disputes or confusion, किसका क्या होगा, if there is a confusion, so from where you can get it? From the act. Just go through the act, what the act says, the UPC is going to validate only the act, not to the any interpretations by any writers or by any teachers. Are you getting my point? In this class also, except certain articles, we are not going to discuss every articles, because it is not feasible to discuss the 465 articles. So just I will mention that article, you need to refer to that. Okay, what we will do, he will understand, here we will understand the explanations with respect to the article, which is more important, because you have the article, you just need to understand the interpretations and explanation of that articles. Are you getting my point? Right? So this is how to, what the resources you should follow. And other than this, this is our important, and plus 6 is at any resource, but should be only one, not more than one. It's up to you. Here is your liberty to choose your own resource, but NCRT is must. Is it clear? Any doubt? Any question? नहीं? ठीक है? So these are the certain questions which has been asked in the previous years from the topic what we have discussed. We have discussed the basis of constitution. We have discussed the basis of constitutions, right? So there is a constitutional guaranteed judicial interpretations that we have discussed, is a prerequisite of democracy. Means judiciary independence is necessary for democracy. Why it is necessary for democracy? Basics questions. Constitution is a living instrument. Yes or no? That what I'm trying to give an idea is that what the questions which has been asked in examinations is related to the topic, and how to bisect that topic syllabus relate with respect to the question been asked in examinations. This is just a model to show you the questions has been asked in recent examinations. This was asked in 2023. Then compare and contrast the British and Indian approach of parliamentary form of government that I said that has been already been asked. And this has been also asked in prelims also. You need to make a comparison between the British parliamentary form of government and Indian parliamentary form of government. That's it. Take. Yes or no? Okay. Then rights of movement, again a fundamental right question has been asked from Article 19. Rights of movement and residence throughout the territory of India are freely available to Indian citizens, but these rights are not absolute. So what is absolute? That we will discuss when we will discuss the fundamental rights, the features. How it is not absolute, that also we will discuss. So these are the example to show you how, while preparing through the syllabus and referring to the PYQs, will help you to crack the exam very soon. Though it requires an efforts, but in a direction efforts, not directionless efforts, because directionless efforts will not lead to any results. Is it clear? Yes or no? Any question? So today's we should end the class. From tomorrow we will continue with the concept. Any questions you want to ask related to today's class? Nahi? Any suggestion you want to give with respect to the class, that we should, how we should? Do you like the class? Thank you. Any suggestion you want to make to the class? Okay, na? Chale, then we will meet tomorrow. Thank you.